Okay, so we are going to talk about our lab activity that we're going to do tomorrow. So before we get into the activity, we're going to discuss a couple of the objectives that we will be responsible for after the activity or during the activity. One of our objectives for tomorrow will be to define probability. Um, Probability is a type of math. It is the likelihood that an event will occur. So when we talk about probability, we're talking about chances, percentages, fractions. Okay. So an example would be a coin flip. What are the chances of getting a heads? Chance of getting heads, since there's two possible outcomes, heads and tails, is 1 out of 2. We could write that as a fraction. We can write that as a ratio, 1:2, or we could write that as a percentage, 50%. One of the other objectives we're going to be discussing or wanting to accomplish is using a Punnett square to determine the likelihood of a boy or girl being born. Now, we used Punnett squares earlier when we talked about Mendel and his experiments and how he used them to predict probability of certain traits occurring. We're going to use the same Punnett square to determine the probability of a boy or girl being born. So, in order to figure out a boy or girl being born, we first need to discuss sex chromosomes. Okay? There are chromosomes, human chromosomes, that have to do with a boy or girl being born. Now, in humans, two X chromosomes, when they combine together, one from the male, one from the female, that will form a female, a girl. We have an X and a Y chromosome, that will form a male. One chromosome gets donated from each individual, one from the mom, one from the dad. So to figure out the probability of a boy or girl being born, we need to put these onto the Punnett square, which we've done before. XX, XY. And to complete the Punnett square, we need to take each of the letters and put them into a box. So XX, XX, XY, XY. So what is the probability of a boy being born? Well, that is 2 out of the 4 boxes, or 1 out of 2, which is a 50% chance of a boy, and then 50% chance of a girl, 1 out of 2. 2 boxes have XX, 1 out of 2. Now we're going to, in our activity, we're going to take a coin, and we're going to use a coin to represent the chances of a boy or a girl being born by flipping the coin several times. So, for example, we will take a coin and we will flip it 6 times, and we'll record each time we get a head or a tail. Each time we get a head, it will represent a boy. Each time we get a tail, it will represent a girl. So we flip it 6 times, and we want to see if the 6 times that we flip it, do we get a ratio of 3 boys and 3 girls? Does it always work out that way? Yes or no? And we're going to do this about 90 times. So we're going to do 6 flips, record, 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 and we're going to see whether or not each of these 6 flips, which represents one family, has this ratio of 1 to 2. A girl and a boy, a girl and a boy, a girl and a boy.